Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? Been waiting for tonight. Addie is with me again tonight. We're going to be talking about guarding our recovery, guarding your recovery. How do you do it? What it means to you. I think it's a really important topic. It was the JFT, um, I don't know, 3 or 4 days ago. Kind of gave me the idea to talk about it. Before we start, if you could, guys, please share the stream, share it out to all your recovery sites. You never know who may need to hear this tonight. Um, Sharing our experience, strength, and hope to others. You know how important that is to me and participating in our recovery. I'm going to get started with the reading tonight. It's titled Guarding Our Recovery. It's from the basic text in Narcotics Anonymous on page 103. Gonna flip over to that screen now. It says guarding our recovery. I want you guys to comment in the chat if you could. What do you guys do to remain vigilant? What do you guys do to guard your recovery? What do you guys do on a daily basis? How do you guys do it? Inquiring minds want to know. It says remember that we are ultimately responsible for our recovery and our decisions, our actions every day. From basic text, page 103. Says most of us will face choices that challenge our recovery. If we find ourselves in extreme physical pain, for example, we have to decide whether or not to take a medication. You know, if we've got an upcoming surgery, and we're in chronic pain, do we or do we not take that medication? We'll have to be very honest with ourselves about the severity of our pain, honest with our doctor, our addiction, and our recovery, and honest with our sponsor, with other people in recovery, people that love and care about us. Because in the end, however, the decision's ours. It's up to us. And we are the ones who must live with the consequences. You know, our behaviors, our actions, they have consequences. And it's our decision whether we make the right one or the wrong one. It says after a common challenge, it says after can't read tonight. Another common challenge is the choice of attending a party where alcohol may be served. Again, we should consider our own spiritual state, where we're at in our recovery. If someone who supports our recovery can attend the event with us, so much better. And we're going to talk about this a little later. However, we don't feel up to such a challenge, we should probably decline the invitation. I'm going to talk about things that I personally do in situations like that here in a little bit. Today, we know that preserving our recovery is more important than saving face. Who cares what other people think? Our recovery and ourselves have to come first. It says all such decisions are tough ones, requiring not only our careful consideration, but the guidance of our sponsor and complete surrender to a higher power, something greater than ourselves. It says using all these resources, we make the best decisions that we can, the best choices that we can. Ultimately, however, the decision is ours. Every day we have a choice. It says today we are responsible for our own recovery. Just for today, when faced with a decision that may challenge my recovery, our recovery, I will consult the resources at my disposal and make my choice. It's a really good reading, and this is what stemmed the entire topic tonight of protection. What do you guys do to protect yourself? What do you guys do to protect yourself in your recovery? I think it's a really important topic. I'm going to bring Addie on screen and unmute her mic, let her say hello to everybody, and we're going to get to it. If you guys could, please share it out and participate. I want to hear what you guys do to protect yourself in your recovery. What's your routine? What do you guys do? What tools in your recovery toolbox do you possibly use on a day in or a daily basis? Welcome, Heather. Bring Addie on here. if I can find the button that says guest on my Stream Deck. If you guys don't know what a Stream Deck is, or you're a live streamer, things are amazing. Here we go. Let me unmute her, because right now you're just hearing her laugh probably off of my microphone. We got dueling banjos in here right now. There we go. Say hi, Addi.
Hi, Addi.
Hi, Addi.
Those little tiny buttons in your really bad eyes.
Yeah, it's hell to get old, guys. Don't get old, man. I can't see shit. That's for damn sure. Please share it out. We are going to talk about protecting your recovery and what you guys do to protect your recovery. I'm going to let Addi start it off tonight.
Oh, okay.
He's going to kind of come from the AlAnon side, guys. You know, everyone knows I come from the Narcotics Anonymous side, and I'm an addict. And I'm proud to be an addict. She's coming from the other side, from the AlAnon side, and what she does to protect herself against crazy addicts like myself. So you're kind of getting the best of both worlds here tonight. I hope you guys enjoy it. Please share it out while she's. Thank you, Heather. I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoy it. I love bringing both sides in. I think it's really important that we hear both sides, because it's really important to hear the damage and the effects that I caused the family and loved ones that love and care about me. What do you do, Addi? What do you do daily? What's your routine? Let's hear this.
Well, I think first though, I really had to stop and think about it when you asked me, because like what I do now, I've done it for so long, it becomes subconscious. Like I don't have to think about how to protect my recovery, because over the last 5 years, I've developed the skills that I have, like I don't have to think about it. I don't have to be like, oh, I need a boundary there. My brain is just like, oh, you need a boundary there. Sorry, people are texting. the
Phone's vibrating. People are saying hello.
Honestly, like I think probably the most important tool that I have is boundaries and detachment. Honestly, to like keep myself protected. I don't know, man. It's still a hard question. I'm still trying to, even though I had like a half an hour to think about what I was going to say, I'm not totally sure. Listening to my body. I know you're going to talk about halts later, but I'll graze on that right now. But like really kind of listening to myself and learning to trust myself again was something that I really kind of had to come to terms with. Because like I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust my judgment. I didn't trust that I knew what was good for me. So now trusting that, I don't know, that feeling, that the little voice in your brain, trusting your gut. Like if that feels wrong, don't do it. I had to like really kind of, like I said, I just relearn what was good for me. And now I have a baseline so I can kind of feel that. And if, I'm going into a weird situation, I went out to hear some live music a couple weeks back with a friend of mine, and I hadn't been out to like a venue where there was some severely drunk people, and my tolerance for being around drunk people has just gotten so low that I was there for about a half an hour, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna dip. I'm over it. I'm done. I'd hit my tolerance, and my brain was just like, I'm done. I can't handle. I'm not gonna babysit drunk people. First of all, I stopped doing that a long time ago. But that feeling comes back, where that, oh, how many drinks have you had? Or, don't put that there, or, whatever. It just, especially like girls that leave their drinks sitting on the counter and they go to the bathroom and all that. Like I felt like I used to have to babysit people's drinks and make sure they wouldn't fall off the deck when they were smoking and all these other things. And it totally killed any fun that I would have out. And now I'm just like, I don't want to do it anymore. It's like, I don't want to be around those people.
Yeah. It's drunk people and being around obnoxiously loud assholes in bars. Not me today. That's for darn sure. I'm going to read a couple quick comments that are in here. Clean date, February 11th, 2022. Congratulations, Angela. Um, I was done, y'all. What do you mean by you were done? Hopefully that's not a bad thing. Heather said, I share hope and I don't really give myself enough time for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's self-care. I need healthy balance. I completely agree with that. I'm going to talk about balancing and not overwhelming ourselves. I love helping, but it's also an easy escape. Angela said sharing, lifting one another up by sharing. Sharing is caring. You guys all know I'm huge on sharing our experience, strength, and hope. Open to advice, which I relate to being open-minded and willing to listen to others and to take suggestion. Looking for a sponsor, a solid check-in. Man, these are all awesome words of encouragement and advice. I love it. Please continue to reply in the chat what you guys do. How do you guys remain vigilant? What do you guys do? What are your tools in your recovery toolbox? What else you got?
So we should talk about us together.
Okay.
I think for a second.
Uh-oh, here we go. You guys are going to hear some dirt.
Well, no, just, we're both working a program.
Yes.
And so we both have to be vigilant in our own program, but I have to not get involved in his and he has to not get involved in mine. We joke with each other and tell each other we should probably call a spot. He's like, you should probably call your sponsor. And I do the same thing to him. If an attitude comes up or if, just something, or sometimes just to be.
We just literally not 2 minutes before we went live, I was invited to go to breakfast tomorrow with her and her sponsor from Addi, but they're going to be talking about her step work and things of that nature. And that's what we mean by it's really important to separate our recovery. Like her recovery is hers, mine is mine. I'm not going to, as much as I'd love to go to breakfast, because I'm fat and I love to eat, that's her and her sponsor's time. That's her time to recover. I love this, like Angela, taking, people accountability. If you look like you're slacking, that's it. Sponsor, prime example, someone that'll call you out on your bullshit, someone that loves and cares about you.
I sponsor people. So, I've been in for 5 years. I have a couple of my sponsees will probably be watching this later. But I have, God, I have like 6 sponsees that are actively working their steps right now. So it's a lot to balance, but they're all doing really well. I'm very proud of everybody. But for in this relationship here, I have to not put that hat on my head,
right,
and not try to analyze what you're saying, and not try to sponsor you. I have to keep that, we're a boyfriend girlfriend. It's not a sponsee relationship here. Not to say that we're not there for each other to support each other through all the things, but I'm not working your steps with you. I'm not going to be like, oh, well, how did you answer this question? Or, whatever. That's not what I'm doing. And I don't know. We don't even really get involved too much. I'm like, hey, how'd your step, how'd that conversation go? And you're good. And that's kind of the foundation of it there,
Yeah. I mean, we've realized that, we can't be one another's higher power. We can't sponsor one another. Obviously, that has gone terribly for me in the past. It's recommended in most all the 12-step programs to be extremely careful of early relationships and early recovery, especially within that first year or so. So those that are listening that are possibly in a relationship in early recovery, just be careful. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but for me, it's worked out miserably many, many times.
I don't think it would have worked for us if I hadn't have already been fairly established in my program.
Right. I agree.
And if I didn't have a program, I don't think it would work at all.
Yeah.
Honestly, because then I would be a crazy bitch all the time.
Yeah. I mean, a little dirt on Addi and I, when we first met, I was still in active addiction. I was still using. I was hiding it from her. I'm sure a lot of you guys that are in relationships right now can probably relate to that. One was bullshitting another, or neither one of you were completely honest. That was us. That was our relationship in early recovery, and it fell apart and then hand grenade it real quick.
I made a scarf out of the red flags that you kept giving me, and I wrapped it around my neck, and I walked over to the house, and I was like, see, I'm done. Like, I'm out.
Yeah, she showed up one night, guys, or one morning, and it was early. At least it was early to me because
it was like mid-afternoon.
I mean, trigger warning, I was up all night smoking crack, and I hadn't gone to bed. I hadn't slept. I mean, who the hell can sleep on that shit? I couldn't. I didn't fall asleep or maybe doze off until 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning the next day. And here she is, all 4'11.5" of her, banging on the door of the house, ready to chew me a new asshole. And it happened. You know what I mean? But that was...
I really didn't. I didn't chew you anything. I just said, I'm done. There was no fight. There was nothing because I had comfortable in my boundaries and in my... being able to say I'm done.
Healthy boundaries are super important.
It's something that I struggled with, but it got to that point where I just hit my boundary, and I was like, yeah, we're done. I'm not doing that again. Because I've been in relationships with other addicts or alcoholics, and it's just no.
What, in Al-Anon?
Right, exactly.
Wow. What?
Right.
Mind blowing.
Right.
I'm reading some of the comments. Heather said, I'm not ready. I need to love me first. Learning to love ourselves and give ourselves a break. It's not easy. It's easier said than done. It's something I struggle with even today. Angela, 8-year battle, to get where she's at right now, and she even said, loving herself, loving me. Welcome Ed, Jersey Ed, my friend in recovery. What's up, brother? Squirreled out, I do that all the time, so bear with me. Tanya said, replying, having to forgive yourself is hard. It's not easy. It's something that I struggle with all the time. I'm going to go over some of the ones that I wrote down. Of course, I've got paper. I'm sorry, my brain's fried. And if I don't write it down, I'll forget what I want to say. For me personally, protecting my recovery daily, I have to surrender daily. I have to turn it over to something greater than myself daily. This isn't a one and done program for me. It's something that I am going to do the rest of my life because I'm an addict, and I'm proud to say that I'm an addict. It's become routine, like Addi said, for me. That daily routine and that daily structure for me is super important. Getting up and saying my prayers, going through my day. How I start my day. I get up, 3 S's, shit, shower, shave. Sometimes I don't even shower. I'm just being honest. And sometimes I don't shave. I did today, though. Don't look too bad today. But, that's what I do. I have to have that daily routine. And participate. You guys hear me say this all the time. Remain vigilant in your recovery. Participate daily. Be of service daily. For some people... and for me personally, aftercare, say when you go through detox, you go through a treatment center, Jersey Ed can attest to this, how important it is for your aftercare, having a prevention plan, participating in an intensive outpatient. These are all things that are, for me personally, worked. And it was something that I did for the first year of my recovery. Those follow-up appointments. The counseling, the service work, exactly, Angela. Reminding myself to slow down and not overwhelm myself. Those small, achievable goals. Not putting too much on my plate. For me, that's protecting my recovery because when I become overwhelmed and I put too much on my plate, I am in trouble. Mm-hmm. That is a huge fucking red flag for Joe. I don't know about you guys, but I struggle. And when I get too much going on at once, man, I feel it. I feel it in my chest. I feel it in my face. My body talks to me. And it's too much. Like, I just get overwhelmed and I start making poor choices.
Yeah, overwhelmed Joe is not a happy Joe.
Yeah, an overwhelmed Joe is not a happy Joe. It's so true. And, I wrote down, celebrate your victories. Celebrate your accomplishments. Those small achievable goals that you may achieve, that you pat yourself on the back, give yourself a fucking break. It's a big deal for us. Those small achievable goals are huge. One of the goals I had set for myself while I was in inpatient was to become a certified peer recovery supporter. And I did that while I was in treatment. That was an achievable goal. And it seemed like it was way out there. Like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to do this. And today I'm there, like I celebrate those little victories, those little wins. Recognize those guys, be proud of your accomplishments. Remember how far you've came, where you're at today in your recovery and where you were 10 days ago, a month ago, 60 days ago, wherever you're at in your recovery. Just remember where you were when you were using and when you were out there in the chaos and in the mess, and where you are today, and give yourself a break. I'm surprised Addi didn't say this, but the attitude of gratitude.
Oh, absolutely.
So important. We are so big on remaining positive. And Ed said, don't be a victim to victory. Yes, exactly, brother. We're big on thought process, changing our mindset from a negative one to a positive one, and looking at the gratitude each and every day, and reminding ourselves where we're at today and how far we've came, and sharing our experience, strength, and hope.
It's all about that perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, people come into, I'm going to say from AlAnon, but I think recovery in general, they come in, oh, okay, I'm in this program now. Nothing bad's going to happen to me because I have this program now, right? And I was like, no, no. See, here's the thing.
Life's going to show up.
Life's going to show up. Life's going to happen. And it's not happening to you. Life's just happening.
Right.
Like people are like, why is all this happening to me? It's not happening to you. It's just that's life. But bad shit still happens. But now in AlAnon, for as long as I have been, I now have the tools to help me deal with it. And I handle things so much better than what I would have or what I used to, being able to handle them.
Better choices and decisions.
Right. Exactly. So it's that being able to not freak out and not like
would that
worst
be a
case
tool
scenario.
in your recovery toolbox, Addi?
It would be a tool in my your tool. Anyway,
there you go, Angela. We said that almost on cue. My toolbox is stocked. I had to remind myself that my toolbox was there at times and that it was always there. I was just the dumbass that refused to pick up the tools in it.
Whomever says that, I forget who you stole that from about ripping the lid off. I love that. I've used that a couple of times.
Scotty Mays.
Yeah.
If Scotty Mays is listening tonight from here in Dayton, I heard him share in one of his recovery live streams to rip that fucking lid off of your recovery toolbox. Get rid of the lid. Leave that thing open and leave it at your disposal every single day. The recovery toolbox is super important. I've already read in the chat, the self-care portion and how important treating yourself, being kind to yourself, congratulating yourself, patting yourself on the back for those small goals, those small victories, and reminding yourself that it's okay to be selfish.
Yes.
This can be a selfish program, and it's okay to be selfish, to keep yourself first and set that boundary. It's okay with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
For me, learning that other people's opinions of me are none of my business was huge. I was a people pleaser. I still will slip into that sometimes. And I was so worried. Like years ago, I had no self-worth whatsoever. Like I got all my self-worth from outside sources, and self-worth, it's supposed to be an internal game, not an external game. But I used to get so freaked out because somebody didn't like me or whatever. And I've had to get past that. Like I said, other people's opinions of me are none of my business.
We all know what they say about opinions, and there's a bunch of assholes out there, and screw their opinions. What matters is how you feel about yourself and what you think of yourself and your own self-worth,
right, and
your own self-value. I mean, not everyone likes me, and if they don't like me, that's okay. Call your sponsor. Lisa, congratulations. I'm seeing clean dates popping up here. Tanya, there's a bunch of people in here. 9/30/18, I believe that was Angela. Congratulations. That's awesome. Some of the obvious ones, guys, the 12-step programs, of course, I participate daily. I highly recommend a sober support group of some time. Virtual support is everywhere. There's all kinds of virtual support out there, whether it's Zoom, whether it's a live stream. It's everywhere, guys. With this pandemic shit that's been going on for years now, it's blown up, and virtual recovery is real. And I agree, Angela. I absolutely love it myself. I'm a Zoom baby. I'm a virtual baby myself. I have been able to, we have been able to stay clean through all of this, and it's amazing. It's not easy. I still go to in-person meetings occasionally. Not as many as I used to, but yes, I agree. It is convenient after a long, hard day at work, and doing the things that I do to participate in my recovery. It works for me, and what works for me may not work for you. If you prefer an in-person meeting over a virtual, that's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone's recovery looks different. As long as it works for you, that's what matters. I had that discussion today with somebody discussing MATs, and I'm not even going to get into it because that's just a whole nother can of worms. But some agree with them, some disagree with them. I am completely for whatever works for you. My opinion is if you need MATs to help you get off of the hard shit and to keep yourself clean and to help yourself stay off of cocaine or crack or fentanyl or whatever, meth, then go for it, because what works for you may not work for me. Vivitrol, there you go. It works wonders for some. And I'm I'm for it all. I'm for all forms of recovery. I'm getting way off topic because that's a whole nother can of worms.
Finding that some of the ladies might be able to relate this with me. Finding the right recovery is like finding that comfortable pair of jeans.
Yeah.
That fits correctly and that, makes you look good and hugs you in all the right places.
Makes your butt look amazing.
Exactly, but they're comfortable. You're not getting, butt's got to look good in your jeans. No muffin top, none of that, but it's like that comfortable pair of jeans. And I finally, I found that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and her butt looks great in her jeans. So anyway, but the virtual support, and some of us, professional help guys, there's no shame in that game whatsoever. Psychologist, counseling, whatever it takes. It's okay not to be okay, and if you have to reach out and seek professional help, that's completely fine.
That's something I recommend as a sponsor.
Yeah, I highly recommend it too. If you need it and you're struggling, use it.
I'm not a therapist. There are things that come up as we're working the steps with people that I'm not equipped to deal with. I can relate to the situation, if a certain, if rape comes up in a conversation, I can relate to that because I have that in my repertoire of, in my things that have happened to me.
There you go.
But I'm not that person to help you deal with it.
Right.
I have recommended many people to go seek
you don't have the
help from a professional. I do not have letters. Yeah, I don't have the alphabet after my name.
We're not cool and have all those awesome letters behind our name. I have CPRS behind mine, but I'm still not cool. So
I just put awesomeness at the end of my name.
Yeah, Addi awesomeness. Sober activities, guys. What do you guys like to do for fun? Participate in being around, surrounding yourself with positive people, places, and things. Super, super important. If you hang around with negativity, you're going to get fucking negativity. That's simple. You hang around positive people, likelihood you're going to get positive results out of that situation. Yes. So I highly recommending hanging out with the positive people, places, and things and changing it up. It's all about change. Sober support calls, 12-step calls, utilizing your sponsor, utilizing the people in your program that you may work. When you're struggling, especially, for me, those sober support calls when I was in treatment, were hard. Oh my God. I did not want to pick up that freaking phone and call somebody and say, hey, my name's Joe. I'm an addict and I'm at this treatment center. I'm a bum. How are you? And it's, that's what they wanted you to do. They encouraged us to do that. And I kicked, screamed, yelled, didn't want to do it. My counselor did everything but kick me in my ass for not doing it. And now I understand why they push it and why it's so important. Because that therapeutic value of one person, one addict, one alcoholic, the lived experience of every one of us in here listening tonight, it's without parallel, guys. It really is. And it's taken me a long time to realize that when you're talking with somebody else that relates to the struggles and the pain and the hardships that we've dealt with through our active addiction or alcoholism, whatever you may be struggling with, um, it's without parallel. It really is. That relatable experience is a powerful tool.
It is.
Oh my God, it's a powerful
I think
tool.
service work kind of falls into that.
Yeah, exactly.
As well.
And I don't care what kind of service. I mean, even if you're donating your time, you're going to a soup kitchen, you're at a meeting and man, I was going to say cigarette butts, but man, do they even smoke at meetings anymore? Outside, I guess.
Yeah.
But coffee, setting up chairs, in the virtual world, hosting, and co-hosting, letting people in and out of the rooms, putting postings up for the meetings. There's so many different ways of being a service.
I was in a shitty mood this morning. I didn't sleep well last night. I didn't want to go do the the horrible reset job that I had.
And that's why I slept well, because you weren't snoring.
Shut up. And so I took a phone call from an AlAnon friend this morning. And, I said things that I needed to hear to her, because it put me in a much better mood after I got off the phone with her, because I was able to help her. And so it was kind of altruistic that, by helping somebody else, I benefit from it. Yeah. Because it changed my mindset, and it got me into a better place, and it got me out of my bucket kind of moment that I was having this morning. Because, the cats were cuddling with me on the couch, and it was like, I'm like, do I really need to go do this job today? I really don't want to go do this job today. But then she called me, and so I was, I had to get up and answer the phone and all that. And, after we talked for like 15 minutes, I was like, all right, I'm going to put some pants on. Let's go do this.
I've heard a lot of people share that before, where, not only is it important to share your experience, strength, and hope, but like when a sponsor or a sponsee are interacting and one's in another, it's like, not only am I trying to help you, you're possibly helping me in my recovery too. I relate that to the job I work and being in the recovery field today, because, the reminders and sharing my experience, strength, and hope with other people, and them sharing it back with me, they don't realize how much it's helping me as much as I possibly maybe helping them.
I get out just as much if I'm helping a sponsee, especially like working the steps with my sponsees. I've only formally worked my steps once, but I work my steps every single time I'm doing them with somebody else, because I'm constantly like, well, how would I answer that? Or how did I answer that? And how would I answer that now as they're talking to me, so I can kind of gauge that or gauge their answer.
Yeah, right.
So it helps me out.
Back to my list of things I have. We can go on all night. Volunteering, I mentioned that. I think it's super important to volunteer. I used to volunteer at soup kitchens and things like that when I was my first few attempts in recovery. I don't know, man, like there's like a spiritual uplift when you give back and you're of service and do things like that. For me, there is. For those that like to exercise, I obviously do not. Exercise is a way of protecting yourself in your recovery. And if my sponsor is listening tonight,
he's on, I think.
He's going to relate to this. Healthy eating habits, and how, changing your eating habits. Because food and alcohol were my first addictions. It was huge. I was over 510 pounds in my life. Food has always been a huge struggle for me. And like my eating habits right now suck. They're terrible. And I know a lot of people struggle with food, especially in recovery, because we start feeling better and we get fatter. We start eating like horses, and our jeans get tighter and our asses get bigger. You know what? But it's healthy. It's a healthy, we won't even go there. what was that Mix-a-Lot song? I like big butts.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. I don't have to say any more about it.
And we're going to some random shit. We're going back to some rap in the mid 90s. I
Yeah,
can't believe
some of you guys may not even know.
I can't believe our parents let us listen to that stuff.
Some
honestly.
of you guys might not even know Sir Mix-a-Lot, but you know, that was an awesome song. Still an awesome song and a video.
Oh my God, Becker.
But exercise and healthy dieting, finding that healthy balance, it does. It really, really helps. I had already mentioned the positivity and the gratitude. You know, all these things that Addi and I have talked about and have mentioned, you know, they require daily focus, daily application.
I just wrote this down on my paper, actually, before you even said that. But I can tell when I have not been working a program.
Yeah.
Like, I can tell, like, life will start to spin out of control. Like, if I've been super busy in a week and I haven't made it to a meeting. I mean, because this is like...
I'm going to relate to that.
Pre-Zoom, we'll say, when I actually had to put my ass in a chair in an in-person meeting.
And actually really apply yourself.
And actually, yeah, really go and, like, have pants on and everything.
Oh, God.
I know, right?
Yeah. Lord knows what's going on from the waist down.
Right. I'm business casual.
Thank God for cameras.
Anyway, just saying. But, you know, so my life becomes unmanageable again. So I have to get my ass back into a meeting. Yeah. And now with Zoom, I don't have an excuse.
No.
You know, because back when in-person meetings, before Zoom was a thing, you know, okay, oh, I missed Monday. Oh, I missed Wednesday. Oh, I missed Friday. But now there are meetings happening 24 hours a day. I don't have an excuse. But that is also a good thing because then, you know, while I'm at work, I can plug in and listen to a meeting, or I can do whatever. Because, like, the days that I don't do my readings in the morning, it's a shit day. You know, I know that I have, I don't know what I'm going to say there. Go ahead.
I don't know.
My train done.
Addi had a brain fart?
It totally.
Lisa, can we recommend Zoom meetings? Well, yes, my friend, we can. I tell you what, the easiest way for me to do it, because I have a plethora of knowledge when it comes to virtual meetings. If you get on the Dayton Strong Recovery 101 webpage, either in the group page or on the main page, send us a message either on WhatsApp or on Messenger, preferably. So I know it's you. That way I can reply to you that way.
We'll get back to you.
And we will definitely, I'll get back to you tonight. You'll be cussing me because I'll send you a bunch of them.
Oh, it says Friends in Recovery. Yes, Friends in Recovery. We'll plug there. Friends in Recovery.
I will definitely plug Ed and Friends in Recovery once again. I have got Friends in Recovery stuff everywhere in here. These guys are awesome. Check them out. They have virtual support meetings every single day, guys. 7 days a week. Some of those are multiple times a day. They are awesome. If you haven't checked them out, check them out on YouTube. They're on Facebook. They're on multiple platforms. My recommendation is to check them out on Facebook. I have their information personally. So if you message us on Facebook, I can forward it to you. That's probably the easiest way. Because I know Ed even forgets them. There's just so many of them. Their support network is huge. Sober Gang. I see my dude Jameson in here. And I'm going to give him a shout out too. Sober Gang from Dayton, Ohio. Check out their private recovery group. He has a couple different pages going on for support. The FOA here in Dayton, the Family of Addicts. They're all amazing support groups. I could go on and on and on. My toolbox is overfilled and I'm blessed. I mean, I really am.
I host some AlAnon meetings 2 days a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Watch the Dayton Strong page because I post the meeting about an hour before we go on the meeting for the information. It is an Al-Anon meeting, but everybody is welcome because we all struggle with codependency, and we all know somebody that
and addicts and alcoholics are welcome in this Al-Anon meeting, guys. So if you guys need a meeting and you are struggling, please participate in Addi's meetings. They're great meetings. It's open recovery. It's titled an Al-Anon meeting, and there's a lot of Al-Anon going on in the meeting, but addicts and alcoholics are more than welcome because they struggle just the same. We had an addict, I'm not putting any names on it, but we had an addict that came into the room on Thursday that they call it a qualifier. Her husband is a qualifier. He's still in active addiction and alcoholism. So yes, please participate in those meetings. We do post that meeting every
Tuesday, Thursday. Like
every
I said,
Tuesday and
it's
Thursday.
8:00. It's 8:00 Eastern. But
So
so
on
you have
Zoom.
to. So about 7:00, I usually post the information.
Yes.
So
Friends in Recovery has theirs. I believe that's on Monday. And Ed, send the information to me, please, so we can get in contact with your beautiful wife. Because I haven't gotten it yet. Mental health, guys. I know I haven't mentioned it. I was kind of waiting until the end to talk about mental health. Where can you find Addi's meetings? My friend, I will text you shortly, and you will have all the information one needs to know about Addi's meetings. There we go. Sober Gang Recovery Community. There you go, brother. About time you logged on to the right page. Man of many aliases like myself when I'm posting on sites. Mental health. HALT. How many guys in here know what HALT means? I want to hear it. I want to see it in the chat. What does HALT mean? You know, awareness is the key.
It says you forget. It's funny.
Shit. You got CRS, Ed. It's that can't remember shit syndrome. That's what happens when you get old, brother. You lose your hair and then you can't remember nothing.
I use HALT with an S because I use it with two extra words at the end of it.
I will let Addi define HALT.
Hungry, angry, lonely, tired, stressed, or sick. I actually had somebody give me a much longer one that had many other letters in it as well. I don't know if you could say the word, but but those are the 5 basic ones. And I personally, if I have more than 3 of those at any given time, I should not be around people.
Yes.
And if I have more than 4 of those, I probably shouldn't be around myself. So, because I go into bitch mode if I hit 4 of those.
You don't want to have a 4'11" and a half bitch running around the apartment.
It's that self-awareness that we were talking about earlier. It's the knowing that I'm not in a good place right now. Okay, so that gives you the moment to halt and do what it says.
Pause, halt.
And practice that pause.
Yes.
And start at the top. Am I hungry? Okay, go take care of that.
Go feed your face.
Am I angry? Or any emotion that kind of fits in there.
What are you at? Usually when I'm angry, it's something within me. So don't overthink it. Like, look within yourself. Like, if something's pissing you off or someone said something that you're butthurt over, try to change your perspective, change your viewpoint, and try to look within yourself and look at, like, why is that really aggravating me? Why am I allowing someone to steal my joy today because they say I look fat in my pants or something silly? You know what I mean?
Again, see other people's opinions of me or none of my
it goes back to the opinions. I mean, who cares? Don't let somebody steal your joy.
And then the lonely, like, reach out to somebody. If you are lonely, it doesn't matter. Like, reach out over the phone, text somebody. Sometimes when I was single, I would go to a public place and just start up a conversation with somebody. Coffee shop, park, whatever. I mean, even if it's something simple like, hey, I like, those are cute shoes, and start a conversation with somebody, because that, lightened up my soul just a little bit. Those days that I was really feeling lonely, I had to get okay with being by myself.
Yeah.
And I had to become okay with going to dinner by myself and eating by myself and, just being okay with that. And so, like, those moments come up when you're lonely. I reach out to my sponsor or another AlAnon friend. Or, like I said, just randomly talk to somebody at the grocery store. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I struggle with loneliness too, guys. I don't like to be alone. I don't think any of us like to be alone, even though I had become a master isolator. I had mastered it. I would disappear, not for weeks, not for days, not for months. I would disappear for years, like family looking in an obituary, disappear, isolation. And I honestly, there for a longest time, because I struggle with social anxiety. And I know I mentioned the mental health part, like being around large groups and other people. I'm still learning how to get comfortable with that. I don't like to go shopping. I don't like going to Walmart or wherever and being around a bunch of people. I still find myself going in and getting out as quick as I
Mm.
possibly can. Sometimes when we go shopping, I sit in the parking lot and listen to the radio because it relaxes me.
Mm-hmm.
Being around a bunch of people in thrift stores or wherever we may be going, to this day, I'm still learning how to love myself and be okay with me and be comfortable in my own skin, and accept myself. Like, it doesn't happen overnight. I
No.
wish I could just, wave a magic fucking wand and I was healed, but I'm not. And I have to work on it and remain vigilant. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
the mental health struggles, the anxieties, the depression, the isolation. Some of us struggle with bipolar, and there's all kinds of forms of that. Be aware of your red flags, be aware of the symptoms, listen to your body when you feel yourself getting hot or
Mm-hmm.
flush or your gut, you know, realize those, be aware of them, those triggers, those identifiers, the identifiable triggers that
Mm-hmm.
you can feel within yourself, when these things are happening. And that's when we bust open that recovery toolbox, and your lid should already be ripped off of it anyway. And you can reach in and use those recovery tools. It's super important. Mental health and recovery, obvious, they go hand in hand, guys. Um, I had mentioned this is one thing that's within the realm of, protecting yourself and, holidays. How many of you guys struggle during the holidays? I wrote this down here towards the end of my paper because I think it's really important during the holidays. We've got upcoming holidays all the time. Being aware, setting up an exit strategy, an exit plan, kind of pre-planning what you're going to do. Planning out rides, sober support. Are you going to take somebody with you that's clean or sober? Be aware that, even if it's a family function and it's someone that you love and care about, is there going to be alcohol involved? Some of the family members are still using, it's like you gotta protect yourself and your recovery first. Are you putting yourself in a high risk situation? You got to sit back and really think about those situations. And this could go for people that work in the professional world, that have meetings that they go to, that go out for dinners and evening events and things of that nature. Have someone on deck. Have an exit strategy if things go south. If something's going on at one of these events, at a concert, whatever.
Really have good boundaries established.
Yeah.
And know what you're comfortable with.
Yeah. Realize what you're comfortable with. Set those healthy boundaries and stick to them. That's my problem. I can set them. I sometimes struggle with the application part.
Can I share the band story?
Share the band story. I knew this was coming. This is an example of me in early recovery.
Were you still in the sober living house?
Yeah, I was still in sober living.
Yeah, you were still in sober living. So he and I were out. We had a friend's band play at a local bar.
It's a pastor.
And yeah, it's a pastor. He's cool. Anyway, not the point of the story.
No.
So we went to this bar and I said, hey, do you want to come with me? And so he's like, yeah, I'll give it a try, and I could tell that he wasn't super comfortable, but we've got to kind of try new things to see how we're going to react to them, new situations, And so we were in the bar for, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes before the band started. And I could tell Joe was uncomfortable. But, we were hugging the one wall and just watching people. And he told me I think we made it through one or two songs. And he's like, I'm going to go out to the car and vape. And I said, okay. I got a text message from him. He's like, you stay as long as you want. I'll be in the car. He's like, I can't do it.
I never came back.
He didn't. And so
I love music. I love live music.
I was there with a friend. And so I hung out with her for a couple more songs. And I got my live music fulfillment for the night. And I dipped out. And I said, hey, let's go. So we went and got something to eat. And I took him home. But it's knowing those things. And it's me understanding. And not being pissed off that, oh, well, fine, why didn't you come back in? Me having the understanding that you weren't comfortable.
And that was me dabbling, testing the waters, thinking, oh, well, alcohol wasn't a huge struggle of mine. I can go to the bar and listen to live music and be okay. And man, guys, the minute I walked into that bar, I was so uncomfortable. I could feel it in my gut. I started getting sweaty. My hands were getting clammy because I used to use in bars. You know, there's drugs and alcohol, obviously. And exactly, Diane, I couldn't be around it. I instantly got sick to my stomach. You know, I kind of got those I'm on my way to buy dope feeling. You know, I got the poop feeling, you know, that anticipation of I'm about to get high feeling. I know a lot of you guys can relate to that. Like I was uneasy. And I didn't like it. I did not like it. It was gigantic red flag for me. And I removed myself. The point of the whole goofy story is identifying those body triggers and those red flags that are flying. Listen to yourself.
Yeah, part of the good part was we had a conversation prior to going into the event.
Pre-planning.
You know, this could happen. You know, he was very aware of, hey, I'm gonna do what I can, so that we were both on the same page. Yeah. So that if he said, hey, I'm ready to go, like I'm not feeling it, I was okay with that, and we left. You know, that was that communication. I mean, that's one of the things I have wrote down for how he and I work so well, is the fact that we're honest with each other.
Yeah.
And if we're not feeling it, we tell that person. You know, I stopped doing things that made me feel uncomfortable a long time ago.
Be honest with one another.
You know, putting myself into awkward situations. If I'm not feeling it, I'm leaving.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. No is a sentence. I wrote this down. No is a sentence. It is okay to say no. If you are not comfortable going to an invited, whatever it may be, it's okay to tell somebody no.
And you don't have to explain it. No is a complete sentence. You don't have to say, well, my cat's sick and I need to be home with her. Because those comes down to that being in that situation where you're lying again. Yeah. And you have to remember those lies. Just no.
You don't even have to say you're in recovery. Just say, no, I don't want to go.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it. No.
Yeah, I mean, you don't owe anyone an explanation on why you're saying no. No is no, and if they don't like it.
Because we only have control of ourselves. Yeah. We don't have control of those other people, how they're going to react. But as long as I say it, and I say it with conviction, and I feel comfortable saying that, their reaction is none of my concern. I have no control over that.
Exactly.
So if they fly off the handle, well, you know, and get offended, that's not my problem. That's their problem. They need to call their sponsor.
Yeah, that's... Speaking of, I've seen mine on here commenting sleep, meds, if you need them, which is really important. You know, taking care of your mental health and getting the proper medications and the proper help is super important. Eat, diet, meditation, exercise, routine, sober support. These are all awesome words of encouragement and advice.
Yes,
so when you say no to others and say yes to yourself, Ed, that is exactly right. We don't owe anyone excuses. We don't owe anyone any answers. We have to keep ourselves and our recovery first. And it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks or says or does. That's on them. Don't allow that to affect you and your recovery. Don't be a people pleaser. Addi talked about that a little while ago. I struggle with people pleasing. I want everyone to love me. I want everyone to like me. And that's just simply not possible. So I have to remember to keep myself first. Be true to ourselves. Thank you, Lisa. That's perfect.
In a prior relationship, I was with an alcoholic. It was my former husband. And we would make plans. This is before AlAnon, okay? Way before I figured all that out. We would make plans, and then he would get blackout drunk and be passed out. And so instead of going and doing whatever we had planned, I would sit at home and be sad and feel sorry for myself that we didn't go out and do things. Until finally I had an aha moment after I started going to AlAnon. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. It's kind of like what Joe was talking about having alternative plans. So if, you know, the situation didn't work out for the couple of us to go out and it was passed out sleeping, I went out anyway. You know, I would go out to dinner with the friends that we were supposed to go out with, or I would go out and see a movie or whatever. And so that now has given me the ability to, in a situation with me and Joe, if it comes up that he's like, I don't feel comfortable doing that, I still feel comfortable and it's something I really want to do, I'm okay going by myself.
And we're okay
to go do that.
Vice versa.
You
If
know?
it's same situation with me. That's the beauty of our relationship is we understand one another and we're open and honest. That's why I kept chiming in and saying being honest. Especially when you're in a relation. I mean, being honest, period, to everyone is vital. But when you're in a relationship like we are, it's really, really crucial to be honest and open with each and one another.
Now, I want to cover that really quick though.
Go for it.
The fact that I work an honest program, but that doesn't mean I have to tell everybody all my truths. I still have to know who to trust. So I don't go to the grocery store and tell Gladys, who's checking up my groceries, every single thing about my life, because I don't know Gladys and I don't know who Gladys is going to go tell. I work an honest program.
Anonymity.
But I do not have to tell everybody everything.
Right.
I can still keep some things personal to me and maybe a small group of people like my partner and my sponsor and those kind of people. But I don't have to go out and share everything with everybody. And I think that's a delineation that certain people think they have to overshare, and you don't. You still have to protect yourself.
There's something in the chat I want to comment on. Diane had said that it's the unknown and the lack of control she struggles with, that she has. Control. That's one of my gigantic character defects. My sponsor can attest to that. Addi can. Anyone that loves and cares about me and knows me really well knows that I struggle with control. You know, the whole control and the fear of the unknown. I'm working on it. You know, I'm a work in progress.
I think that's something for you and I too. He's a planner. He has to have his whole day planned. I am not. I am fly by the seat of my pants. So his planning, I'm all of a sudden randomly out of nowhere, I'm like, hey, let's go do this. And he's like, that wasn't, you know, we'll be out going to the grocery store and I want to swing by this other store and this other store. And he's just like, no, that's not the plan. But I'm like, come on, let's go.
I overthink everything. I overanalyze everything. I'm a planner. They say this is a simple program for complicated people. Well, I can fucking overcomplicate anything and everything you throw at me. So like I struggle. You know, the fear of the unknown, though, not nearly as much as I used to. Thank God that I have been able to practice and have found this routine daily to where I can have faith and trust in something greater than myself. I have been able to find the ability to turn my will and my life over to something greater than myself every single day. That's why I say it's so important to surrender daily, that this isn't a one and done program and that this is something that we have to do every single day. Prayer is important for me. Turning it over is very important for me. Not allowing my past to define me is super important to me. I actually use my past, my lived experience, to share, to use it as a positive. I've flipped the script. You know, cognitive behavioral therapy has taught me that, CBT. It's an amazing way to flip the script and use that experience, strength, and hope, that pain, that relatable experience that each and every one of us have and have gone through, to share with other people. Pain shared is pain lessened, guys. And the more we share our pain, the more we may possibly help someone else that may be struggling, that may be going through a similar situation. We just never know what someone's going through on any given day. That's why I always say recover out loud. It's going across the bottom of the screen right now. But please share your experience, strength, and hope. People need to hear it.
Yeah.
We all have a unique story. We all have unique circumstances. And, you know, recover out loud. I mean, it's just that simple.
The way we survived a situation and we talking about it could be somebody else's survival guide.
Exactly.
As to how they can get through it. You know, many times I've heard so many leads from AlAnon, well, both sides. I mean, I listen to leads all the time, but I hear those things and people will say, hey, I handled the situation a certain way. And it's even now going through some of the stuff, the struggles that I've had over the last couple of years, I've been able to use those ideas and not get stuck.
So it's planted seeds.
Exactly.
Planted seeds.
And
step 12.
Right. We cannot, something else I like to say too, we cannot eat fruit from the same seeds we planted in the same day.
Yeah.
So sometimes it takes time, you know? In certain situations it takes 20 years.
It took decades. It took decades for me. I mean, it really did, guys. But I kept coming back. You know, all those cliche sayings that we hear in the 12-step programs, you know, they keep coming back. You know, the 1 day at a time. It works if you work it. Those things, those cliche sayings used to drive me insane. Mm-hmm. I'm like, these guys are weird. You know, I've told the story before. My first introduction to NA in an in-person meeting was by a 300-pound fat guy with a big burly beard and suspenders that smelled like gasoline and had wood chips all over him. And that man ended up being my first sponsor, and I love him to this day. And I thank him for all the help that he provided me while I was still in active addiction, while I was still trying. You know, that's the beauty of the we and the therapeutic value. It's amazing. It is. It's just without parallel. Like I listened, I heard it. I wasn't practicing it. You know, and it took a long time for me, you know, some quicker than others. I'm just blessed that today I'm still alive and that I have this opportunity to do what I'm doing today. There's a lot of gratitude in that. What up, Corey? You said, Joe, it's Corey. I'm like, what is this guy talking about? I know who Corey is. I was in treatment with Corey. I'm breaking your anonymity, and I just totally did. And I'm sorry if you're pissed off at me. I love you, brother. I'm glad to see you on here, man. Another guy, badass recovery warrior, hasn't gave up the good fight, man, and he's doing really well. It's nice to see you on here, man. It really is. What else? What else do we have?
I use my God box.
God box.
On a regular basis. For those of you that don't know, it's a box. It can be a box. It can be a can. It can be a jar.
Oh,
mine is a drawer. That I have a little dresser that sits on my desk. But a God box is anything that you need to give to God, to your higher power, to let go of, to get it out of your brain and out of your system. You know, so if I've got somebody on my mind, I will, like, we'll say my dad, for example. I have no control over him, so I need to just write it down, Dad, and sometimes I'll write a little scenario with it or a prayer or something, and I will talk to God, and I will put it in my God drawer and shut it. And it's that process of, you know, doing that kind of releases it. I have a friend that has a prayer book that she just stuffs it in the middle of her prayer book. You know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the process is, as long as you just do it, you know. Yeah. I've got somebody that they got a little box from the dollar store or something and decoupaged and make it all pretty and all that. And do whatever you need to do, you know, but it's that process of letting go.
Yeah.
And letting go of the things that I don't have control over.
I used to hate journaling, and when I was in a treatment center here in Dayton, they would have us write goodbye letters to our addiction, whatever your drug of choice was. I'm sure a lot of you guys that have gone through treatment can relate to that. And saying goodbye to your drug of choice. You know, they'd have us write them, and then rip them up, throw them away. I've gone to recovery events where they've had us burn them, throw them into a campfire, read them out loud to other people in recovery, other addicts, other alcoholics, and then say goodbye. You know, welcome in the new you, the new me. Here I am. Goodbye, old me, old you. This is me today. And not let that define you. Not let that shit hold you back.
Yep. In another part of my life, I worked with teenagers and elementary school kids to do drug and alcohol prevention like 20 years ago. And something that we would do is in these small groups that we would be involved in, we'd have those kids write a letter to their future self of something that they wanted to fix or wanted that they learned in the program. And it was different topics for different groups. But so then I would hang on to those and I would mail them back to those kids, or I would give them back if I saw them the next year or whatever. But a lot of times we would mail them to them a year later, or whatever the time period was for that program, so that that kid could then see the progress that they had made. And it was just, I have a few people that have gotten a hold of me over the last couple of years, and they're like, I remember that, and it really kind of affected people in a positive way.
Here's a comment that I know you can relate to and comment on. Diane had mentioned in chat that she said watching the person you love going through addiction is the worst. It's the legal problems and the health problems. I worry so much. I struggle with depression, anxiety. It's hard.
It is hard. My husband that I had, he passed away 2 years ago from a fentanyl overdose. I had left prior to that because stuff had just gotten to be too dangerous. But I was in that situation watching him drink himself to death. And it got to the point that I had to walk away because it was getting to be too dangerous for me. Like it was kind of, my life was on the line. I'm not saying that to be dramatic. It was. I have no doubt that if I hadn't left when I did, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you guys today. But yeah, it's horrible. But honestly, AlAnon helped me save my life because AlAnon helped me learn to focus on myself. There's a reading from one of the books. I'm paraphrasing slightly because I don't have it in front of me. One Day at a Time, May 30th, I think. It's the bottom of the page. It says that I will make sure my concerns are my concerns, and I will leave the alcoholic to the consequences of their actions. I won't, I won't make it easy for them. They, like, for example, got an OVI. Hey, guess what? That's your OVI. You're going to deal with the legal ramifications. You're going to deal with going to court and doing all that. I'm not doing it, and I had to set a boundary for myself and say, hey, it's not mine, and that doesn't mean that I don't love him, because I did, and I do. But I had to set my boundaries and say, that's it. It's not mine.
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, I relate to it because I was the person that she's speaking about. I was the person in the muck, in the chaos, creating havoc. I absolutely love the chaos, probably more than my drug of choice. I love the chase. I love the ripping and running. All those countless phone calls back home to my family, to my sister, pour me and myself to death, seeing how much further I could push them, how much further they'd be willing to continue to enable me and send me money and helping me out and bail me out of this mess or bail me out of that mess. I know a lot of you guys can relate to that because I think we've all done it in one way, shape, or form. And it's hard. It was really hard. That's why I personally enjoy going to some of the Al-Anon meetings, because I get to hear both sides of the story. I get to hear how my actions affected the people that love and care about me personally. And yeah, I see amends. It's not easy. It's really hard to hear that pain, the pain that I caused and the struggles that the families and the friends in recovery are going through. It's really, really hard. I've seen someone else talk about, having that positive outlook and gratitude and turning it over to God or your higher power, whatever that may be, daily. A lot of people pray. A lot of people set healthy boundaries. I'm just kind of skimming through the comments, making amends. There's so many. Prayer. For me, works and it helps. They're not those meaningless prayers for me anymore. It's changed. Exactly. The positive self-talk, positive affirmations. Thank you.
I think meditation is kind of something to talk about too, because the prayer side is where we're asking for help. But the meditation side is where you need to sit and have a quiet moment, because that's where we listen. Yeah. And that's where the answers will come from, is being able to
took that from that show we were watching last night from that Indian woman.
Did I?
I don't know. I just remember her doing that. I remember her telling her to sit and be still, just like Angela's saying, and listening to your higher power for the answers.
Practicing that pause, like that.
Yes.
That's huge.
Yes.
I had to learn how to do that because I was very much I will let my verbal diarrhea come out and deal with the consequences later. But now when I can take a minute and actually stop and think about what I'm going to say, it saves me a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I see the comments talking about Narcan and being dead and thing. I mean, thank God for Narcan. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I carry it around with me everywhere I go. I mean, the struggle is real, guys. It's not going away anytime soon. I hate it. I wish it wasn't this way. Thank God the ones that are here tonight that have been Narcan, I included, are still here and fighting the good fight. You know, it's a blessing. You know, I've had the Narcan people at work. We had a fatal OD the other day. There's been a couple since I've been there. It's awful. You know, the job I used to work before, I went out to the car one night at 2:00 in the morning and there was someone slumped over right next to my car. Unbelievable. Yeah, there's cats everywhere. I'm surprised they haven't live bombed us more.
This is Piper.
That's Piper's butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was like, I need to cuddle, Mom.
That's our baby, and she's almost a year old. And
she probably is a year old now, I would think.
She's a horse.
So she is.
She used to fit in the palm of my hand, guys. Literally in the palm of my hand. And
now she's every bit of 15 pounds.
Yeah, now she's a cow.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We got anything else before we close it down tonight? I am getting hungry.
Me too. I think we've covered a lot of ground.
I do. We did. Hey, the Q&A. We're still doing Addi and Joe's Q&A. I really want to thank everybody for being in here tonight. You guys were awesome. The comments.
Thanks for yeah, you guys, that's what kind of makes this even more interesting.
You guys participating in your recovery. You guys are helping us as much as hopefully we helped you guys tonight. I agree. Food is next on my hit list because I have not eaten myself. I don't think I have done a live this long in quite some time. I think the last live that went this long was with Jersey Ed and Friends in Recovery. So yeah, I love it. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for sharing the stream out. Please join the pages if you haven't. Like, follow, share. You guys know how to do all that stuff.
Message us. We will get back to you guys.
Please message us for those asking about meetings and information. Thanks, Aaron, for watching on YouTube. That's awesome. Yeah. If you guys have questions, if you need any local resources, I don't care where you're at in the States, or even if you're not in the States, I will help. I will try to look the information up for you. The Dayton, Ohio, Cincinnati area, that realm, I am a plethora of knowledge for resources and recovery, guys. So if you're in this area and you are listening to us tonight, Addi, you can message her direct on the Dayton Strong Recovery page, or myself. It goes to both of us, guys. When you guys message Dayton Strong Recovery, it goes to Addi and I. Addi can link up with you that way. That way, if you want to friend her personally on Facebook, you guys can do that amongst yourself. That's awesome, guys. I appreciate it. If anyone needs any help, you're struggling, reach out to Addi or I. Use your recovery toolbox. I appreciate you guys being in here. The Q&A is going to happen. Message us questions for Addi and I to answer. We are definitely rated R for recovery, guys. We are an open book. If you guys want to know some dirt on us, don't be afraid to ask. Send us your questions. We're accumulating questions that we've been receiving for a few weeks now. And we're going to do this again together live. And we're going to do a Q&A with Joe and Addi. It's going to be fun. There'll probably be a lot of laughs. And you guys will get to hear some dirt on both of us. And probably hear a little bit more of our personal story and our struggles. You heard some of it tonight from Addi. I wasn't even expecting that. It just happens, guys. It's the beauty of live streaming. You know, I love doing this, and Addi loves doing it too. We love each and every one of you guys.
We're going.
The cat. Yeah, I think she's hungry. She's gonna jump up here and knock everything down on this table.
No, she's not.
The stream's gonna come to a crashing end.
Sit right here.
Stay vigilant, guys. Stay grateful. Thank you for being in here tonight for Maddie and I both.
You guys are all rock stars. Go be awesome.
You're all badass recovery warriors. We love each and every one of you guys. Everyone that's in here tonight for the first time, thank you for participating in your recovery and in our recovery.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Please come back when you see us live again. If you like the page, you'll get the notifications. Good night, everyone. We love you. Remain vigilant in your recovery. Easy for me to say. We will talk to you guys later.